That you heard that today the Department of National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard just referred a document to the Department of Justice that they investigate and prosecute ex-President Barack Obama, as well as his team, his administration, because she feels that she has proof that his goal was to usurp President Donald Trump and subvert the will of the American people by creating a document. And what she said, if you'll look at this document here, it basically says that President Obama, in a meeting that included the National Security Council, which included James Champer, John Brennan, Susan Rice, John Kerry, Brian McKinnon, Loretta Lynch, Andrew McCabe, and Avril Haines. They were the ones that were in attendance. And after that meeting, they received an email from the President of the United States at that time, Barack Obama. This was right before President Trump took office. The purpose of that meeting where leaders were tasked with the creation of an assessment of the president's request, and the task was to subvert the presidency of the United States and Donald Trump. He advised them to spy on the president, to spy on his administration, and basically subvert the will of the people who had just elected President Donald Trump as president. And so because of that, she has now asked the Department of Justice not only to investigate, but to prosecute. Now, let me explain everything and why. Right now, the most important person in Donald Trump's cabinet is Tulsi Gabbard. And the reason she's so important is because for the first time, not only is she asking them to investigate, but she is also asking them to prosecute, because she has evidence to prove that President Obama and his administration did things that were treasonous in order to subvert the will of the people by going against the duly elected president of the United States. Now listen to me again. She not only asked them to investigate, she asked them to prosecute. And the reason that's so important is because we're so accustomed to investigations. The Republican Party constantly has investigations. The one thing that they have never done is prosecuted. They don't prosecute anyone. But I'm going to give you an example of why this is so important and what happened. When President Trump first won in 2016, I told people, I said, is something going on? And I don't know if you remember, but immediately after he was elected, they started saying that they were having all of these leaks from within his administration. And I kept saying, I was like, I have seen many presidents. I think at that time in my lifetime, 8 different presidents. I said, I have never seen this happen before. And I told someone, President Obama is doing something to keep President Trump from taking office and doing what he's supposed to do as a duly elected president. It was very obvious. And I'm going to tell you what happened. Hillary Clinton in 2016, she got her legal firm to hire this man, Christopher Steele, to write a dossier about President Trump, at that time, the candidate Trump, to say that he was working with Russia to try to change the 2016 election. Now, the entire time that she did this, it was fake. She knew it was fake. She didn't care. The whole goal was to just throw off the election and to discredit Donald Trump. Okay, President Trump won the election. Now, Brennan, who at that time, John Brennan, who was then the secretary of the CIA, and James Comey, who was a director of the FBI, they both knew that this Steele dossier was fabricated. They knew it. But it did not stop them from hiring a special prosecutor who was Mueller at the time. And they hired the prosecutor. He worked on this case for several years, causing taxpayers over $32 million on this case. And everyone, including President Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, and their entire cabinet, the CIA director, FBI director, they all knew that all of this was fake. But all of them continued to push it. They did everything they could to sabotage President Donald Trump's presidency, and then they kept going with it, and we even had a second prosecution or a second investigation. As a matter of fact, this entire investigation lasted until 2023. And all of these people knew that all of this that they were working on was all fake. And so now Tulsi Gabbard is not only asking for a special prosecutor and an investigation, but she's also asking for prosecution. She is right now the hero of the Trump administration, because never before have they asked for prosecution. They haven't asked for prosecution for USAID or any of the DOJ findings. They haven't asked for prosecution of anyone for anything, but she's asked for prosecution. Anyway, let me know what you think.